YouTube, and welcome to yet another Doctor Who DVD review. In this DVD review I shall be looking at the Moonbase, a Patrick Troughton story, as you guys can probably tell. So yeah, let's go and have a look at the cover. So at the top we have the standard TARDIS roundels, what I don't really need to show you. So I've got to say I'm a big fan of this artwork. This is just a fantastic bit of artwork. So we have Polly and Ben in their rather futuristic spacesuits. We have the totally redesign of the Cybermen, because the 10th Planet Cybermen kept on falling apart. And we have it firing some of its electric sort of stun thing. Then we have the second Doctor looking rather worried, which I believe that's a promotional image from the Macroterror, which is the story after this, because there is a little sequence from episode 4 of the Moonbase what leads into the Macroterror. And behind that we have the moon. We have a grey, or sort of a greyish sort of Patrick Troughton banner with its dates on the spine, which is rather nice if you can actually see it. There you are, it's rather cool. And on the back we have some various pictures from the story of Patrick Troughton supporting the rather futuristic spacesuit. The story is by Kit Pedler, and the total running time for this story is 98 minutes, and it was first broadcast on the 11th of February to the 4th of March 1967, so it's not far after the 10th planet really, since the Cybermen returned. So yeah, this has been the cover. Now I'm going to look at the disc and the leaflet. So yeah, okay, so here is the booklet. So we have got Ben and Polly again in their spacesuits with the moon, and some various production notes. In the side we have some commentary. Special features, there's not many, but there's more from The Enemy of the World and The Web of Fear. We have Lunar Landing, which is a documentary about the making of the Moonbase. Then we have Radio Times Listing Production, subtitles, photo gallery, and coming soon trailer, which is The Underwater Menace. Now, if any of you guys know anything about The Underwater Menace, because I'm really intrigued about what's happened to that DVD, is it still being made, or is it been cancelled, or whatever? If you guys know, comment down below, because I'd be really interested to know what has actually happened to The Underwater Menace. I'll just show you the other side of the booklet, where we have the chapter points and some more pictures. The disc is exactly the same as the cover, but sort of more zoomed in. So I just open that up. Just lift that up, and there we have the disc there. So that's the disc. And the booklet. Now let's go into my thoughts on the Moonbase itself. Okay, so what are my thoughts on the Moonbase? The Moonbase has always been a story I've wanted to see. Ever since I got the Lost in Time, I've really enjoyed it, and I've always wondered what was episode 1 and 3 like. Thankfully, we get to see it, and it gets its own individual DVD release. The story itself, it screams atmosphere. It's very atmospheric. I mean, the setting. I mean, this story actually started the Base Under Siege trend, if you could call it a trend, because most of the Patrick Troughton era, as you may know, was set on a base and there'd be a foe attacking or whatever. But yeah, the music, it has atmosphere, and the Cybermen as well. They are very sort of dark and stuff, and this story really does, to me, highlight why the 1960s Cybermen are my favourite sort of Cybermen stories, because they are silent, they're deadly and powerful, and that's what the Cybermen should be. And throughout this 1960s they were all of that, which was just brilliant for me. And this is why I sort of like the 1960s Cybermen, as I've said. So the animation is brilliant. I've got to say, this is probably my favourite animation out of all of the animated Doctor Who DVD releases. I'm going to say this is my favourite Troughton animation, because the Ice Warriors was a bit disappointing. I thought it was a bit sort of childlike, and the Invasion, that sort of flash animation. If you watch that now, it's good that we've actually got the Invasion animated, but when you watch it now, it's sort of it's very dated, if you know what I mean by that. But Planet 55, I think, the people who animated this, have really captured the likeness of the characters and the costumes. So my overall thoughts on the Moonbase is it's a definite recommendation. The performances are brilliant. I like the use of the sort of continental cast members, you know, like the French person, I think it's something, I can't remember his name, but Patrick Troughton gives us a different side to his Doctor. It shows a bit more of a more serious side instead of this quite quirky little cosmic hobo. But I think this is because of two reasons. Possibly Maurice Barry directing because he's very serious and he's friends with Patrick Troughton, and you know, you've got to be serious. And especially another friend of him who played Professor Hobson, I think. Patrick Barr are both another friend of Patrick Troughton, so I think he did this seriously so people like Maurice Barry and Patrick Barr thought that Patrick Troughton took the role of Doctor Who very seriously, which is brilliant because he did. He'd like to have a bit of fun in the rehearsals, as we all know the stories from Fraser Hines and all that. This story is a bit Fraser Hines light, so if you're a fan of Jamie, you may want to miss this one out, but the Cybermen make it for it. And Patrick Troughton having this brilliant serious side, we get a fantastic speech from, you know, there are some corners of the universe that have bred the most terrible things. That speech. It's just a brilliant little scene. So yeah, the Moonbase I would highly recommend because it's the Cybermen at their best, I would say, especially in the 1960s. If you want to watch a Cyberman story, go for the 1960s, you won't regret it. So yeah, this has been my review of the Moonbase. I highly recommend this DVD. One of the best Troughton stories, even though most of the Troughton era is fantastic. Just a shame we haven't got much of it, really. But we've got 2 more stories, which is brilliant. I'm grateful for the 2 stories we've got. But it'd be nice to see a few more Troughton stories, especially, you know, the Dalek ones, because they're just classics. So yeah, this has been my review of the Moonbase. My next review will be of a audio, Sylvester McCoy one, Dust Breeding. So yeah, stick around for that review, and then I will be starting the figure reviews again, which is going to be nice for people who have been waiting for the figure reviews for a long time. Yeah, I've decided to get back into those because they seem to be rather popular. If you check out my popular videos, they're mostly figure reviews. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this review, and I will see you in my next review. So for now, stay brilliant, and yeah, goodbye.